Man, races like the one we just witnessed are exactly why the NASCAR world stays fired up for days. Because sometimes, it's not even about who takes the checkered flag. Sometimes, it's about everything that explodes after the race is over. The frustration, the finger-pointing, the garage full of angry drivers, and the fans arguing nonstop all week. And right now, that's exactly where NASCAR is. Something went down during Sunday's race at Phoenix, and it has multiple drivers speaking out. A single move changed the entire complexion of the race, wrecked several teams' days, and now people inside the garage are seriously asking NASCAR to take a closer look. But that's only part of the story, because while this controversy is taking over the conversation, the championship picture in the Cup Series is also starting to shift in a way that could matter a lot earlier than anyone expected. So today, there are two big storylines coming out of Phoenix. One has drivers absolutely heated, and the other could quietly shape the title fight as this season unfolds. And trust me, both of them matter a lot more than they might seem right now. Before we get into it, if you're a real NASCAR fan who follows this sport every single week, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation Report is just getting started, and our first big goal is reaching 1,000 subscribers. So, if you're into honest NASCAR talk, real reactions, and the stories everyone in the garage is buzzing about, you're in the right place. Now let's get to the moment everyone is talking about from Phoenix Raceway. If you watched the race, you already know exactly what moment this is. The intensity had already been building. Phoenix is one of those tracks where track position means everything, where drivers are fighting for every inch, and where patience starts disappearing the longer a run goes on. Then everything boiled over. Joey Logano made an aggressive move in traffic while trying to gain position in a tightly packed group of cars. But instead of affecting just one driver, that move set off a chain reaction that collected multiple cars and instantly changed the day for several teams. In one moment, a race that was already tense turned into complete chaos. Drivers like Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, and Josh Berry were all caught in the wreck and suffered major damage. For those teams, their race was essentially over right there. And once the drivers got back to the garage, the frustration came out fast. One of the loudest voices was Ross Chastain. If you follow NASCAR closely, you already know Chastain is never afraid to say exactly what's on his mind. And after the race, he made it clear he believed that move crossed the line. He said hard racing is part of NASCAR, especially at a place like Phoenix, but in his view, this went beyond aggressive and landed in the territory of plain irresponsibility. His issue wasn't just that it was a bold move. His issue was that it put several drivers in a terrible position and ended up ruining multiple teams' days. He even went as far as saying NASCAR should take a serious look at it. And Chastain wasn't alone. A.J. Allmendinger also weighed in after the race, and his frustration centered on something drivers value a lot: awareness and respect on the racetrack. His point was simple. Everyone is out there battling hard for position. That's the nature of NASCAR. That part is normal. But even in the middle of all that intensity, there still has to be some level of awareness when the field is stacked up and everyone is running in heavy traffic. Because when you make an aggressive move in a situation like that, you're not just putting your own car at risk. You're gambling with everybody around you. And that's exactly why this crash hit such a nerve. This wasn't some minor incident between two cars. This was the kind of wreck that sends damage through the field, leaves multiple teams cleaning up a mess they didn't create, and has the entire garage shaking its head afterward. Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Josh Berry, and others all paid the price. And according to reports from inside the garage, several teams were already urging NASCAR officials to take a much closer look at the incident. Now here's the key part. As of this moment, NASCAR has not announced any disciplinary action against Joey Logano. No penalty has been issued, and there's been no official ruling. But officials have confirmed that the crash will be reviewed as part of NASCAR's normal post-race evaluation process. And if you've been around this sport long enough, you know that doesn't automatically mean punishment is coming. Sometimes NASCAR reviews these situations and decides it was nothing more than hard racing. But this story has gotten so much attention because of how many drivers were affected and how strongly some of them are reacting. When multiple drivers are publicly calling for NASCAR to review a move, that's when it stops being just another racing incident and starts becoming one of the biggest talking points in the entire garage. And that's when things start getting really interesting. Because with emotions still running hot inside the garage, This Phoenix crash is almost guaranteed to stay a major topic heading into the next NASCAR Cup Series race. But while all that tension was building on the track and spilling over afterward, there's another storyline that fans need to keep a very close eye on. The Cup Series standings have now been updated after the Straight Talk Wireless 500 at Phoenix, and the championship picture is already starting to take shape in a very serious way. Even with all the chaos that unfolded, Tyler Reddick is still sitting on top of the NASCAR Cup Series standings. He finished 8th at Phoenix, which ended his 3-race winning streak, but even without another victory, his consistency has been strong enough to keep him firmly in control with 225 points. And what really stands out is the cushion he has built for himself already. Reddick is currently 127 points clear of 17th place, which says a lot about just how dominant and steady his start to the season has been. But the biggest move in the standings came from the winner at Phoenix. Ryan Blaney held off Christopher Bell to take the win, and that victory pushed him all the way up to 2nd in the overall Cup Series standings. Right behind him is Bubba Wallace in 3rd, with Chase Elliott sitting 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen is currently 5th, and honestly, that's one of the more fascinating storylines of the season so far. Christopher Bell and Joey Logano are right there as well, sitting close enough to show just how tight this fight is becoming in that part of the standings. Then you've got Michael McDowell and Chris Buescher hanging right in the mix, with Kyle Larson still inside the top 10. Just outside that group, William Byron and Denny Hamlin are still very much in the conversation, along with A.J. Allmendinger, Carson Hocevar, Ty Gibbs, and Brad Keselowski, rounding out the top 16 spots currently sitting above the playoff cut line. And here's where things get even more interesting. Daniel Suarez is just outside the cut line, only 2 points back from 16th. That's how tight this battle already is, and we're still early in the season. Then you look further down the standings and you see drivers who are already trying to climb out of trouble before this thing gets even harder. Ryan Preece, Zane Smith, Kyle Busch, Ty Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, Ross Chastain, Riley Herbst, Noah Gragson, Todd Gilliland, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, Cody Ware, Chase Briscoe, Connor Zilisch, Cole Custer, and Alex Bowman are all sitting further back than they would want to be right now. And that's exactly why this matters so much. Even though it still feels early, points start stacking up fast in this sport. One bad finish, one wreck, one mistake at the wrong time, and suddenly a driver who expected to be comfortably in the playoff picture is already chasing the cut line much earlier than expected. And when you combine that with controversial moments like the crash at Phoenix, you start to see just how fast an entire season can shift. Because one aggressive move can destroy a race, and one destroyed race can completely shake up the points battle. So coming out of Phoenix, NASCAR fans are staring at 2 massive storylines. First, the controversy surrounding the Joey Logano incident, a move that several drivers believe went too far, and one that teams now want NASCAR to examine closely. And second, the championship picture beginning to form, with Tyler Reddick still holding the top spot, Ryan Blaney making a huge jump after his Phoenix win, and the fight around the playoff cut line already turning into something worth watching every single week. And honestly, that's what makes this sport so addictive. Every race changes something. One moment can spark tension in the garage, and one finish can reshape the championship battle. That's why Phoenix feels bigger than just another stop on the schedule. There's controversy, there's pressure, there's movement in the standings, and there's already a sense that the next race could carry some of this tension with it. So don't be surprised if the frustration from Phoenix doesn't stay in Phoenix. Because when emotions start building in the NASCAR garage, things can get interesting very, very fast. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think that move at Phoenix crossed the line, or was it just hard NASCAR racing? And looking at the standings right now, do you believe Tyler Reddick can hold on to this points lead, or is Ryan Blaney about to take control of the championship fight? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because these are exactly the kinds of moments NASCAR fans love debating. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and join NASCAR Race Central. We're just getting started, and we're chasing our first big milestone. So if you love real NASCAR talk, bold opinions, and all the biggest stories happening around the sport, stick with us, because there's a lot more coming your way.